What's going on, Falcons fans? It's time once again for another edition of the pound for pound. My name is Justin Clark, and today we will be talking about the upcoming preseason game. We got Week 4 coming up. This is the last game of the preseason, the last final deal for the guys to show off what they can do. What's up, guys? Those guys show off what they can do. See if they can make this roster. We got some guys fighting, down at the very bottom of the 53. So it'll be interesting to see, who makes some plays, who steps up, whether it be, Reggie Davis, see if he can cement himself, Marvin Hall, see if he makes that next step, and then you've got some, potential linebacker guys like the kid out of Miami, Jeremy Grace, I believe it is. What's up, guys? I'm trying to see, there's an undisclosed injury for Leroy Reynolds, right? He got hit like something up with his chest. So, that may open up a spot for a linebacker to, open up a spot for a linebacker to actually make this roster, I see some people already commenting. That's great. That's awesome. As far as, Sark's play calling, I'm not so worried about it. I honestly think the third preseason game, I believe Toby touched on a little bit in his recap video. I honestly think that they were trying to accomplish two things. One, I think they were trying to accomplish getting that run game going a little better. And, also trying to hook up on some deep balls. Because you got to think that was the first time you had Julio and Taylor Gabriel out there. So I think they were trying to get the timing down on that. I think your best bet is to not look at just the third game, but look at the preseason as a whole. I honestly think that Quinn takes an approach to preseason different than some of the other coaches. I don't think it's necessarily a dress rehearsal on that third game. I think he's literally taken all 4 games to evaluate players. I think he wants to see them in certain situations, try to execute on certain plays. So I'm not so much worried about the about how the offense looks in the preseason. I don't know if Tack can start on our base defense per se. But I think early on you're going to see him be used in the way that we used Dwight Freeney, on those obvious third downs. And I think as the season goes along, you're going to see him start to get used more, whether it be, in the base defense or, but I think it's mainly going to be nickel. I think, I think our cornerbacks are going to be okay. I mean, honestly. You're seeing, not necessarily the best matchups, okay? You had Goodwin on John Brown and Janoris Jones on John Brown. They don't match up well versus the speedy wide receivers, So, again, I don't put too much stock into any of it because they ain't game planning nothing. So, it's straight up just go out there and see what you can do. So, I'm kind of a little worried about the depth, but as long as Rocky and Trufant stay healthy, I think we'll be more than okay with what we got. What are y'all looking forward towards as far as like Jacksonville goes? I mean, myself, I'm looking to see if DeMonte Casey plays. How bad is the injury to Brian Hill? Does that kind of cement his spot on the practice squad? Because he's been in a pretty good battle with Teron Ward for that third, running back spot. 2083. Nice. I see what you did there. Didn't think I forgot about that, did you? Anyway, I think, Teron Ward's battle with Brian Hill has been kind of cemented. Now it's just going to see, does Brian Hill make the actual 53 or are they going to try to stash him on the practice squad? I myself think that they're probably going to try to stash him on the practice squad. But I could be wrong. Hell, I've been wrong before. No, you're right. I don't think we can risk KZ in a preseason game. If he ain't fully healthy, then he needs to sit out. But if he's healthy, Quinn's gonna put him out there, and see what he can do. But as far as, I don't think our starters are gonna play hardly anything, maybe a series, but I doubt even that. But they did play in the so Toby D, but they did play in I believe the fourth preseason game last year and the year before. So I'm sure you'll see him just a little bit on Thursday. But I believe that it's mainly going to be about yes, this is the last. Is this the last? Yeah, it's the last preseason game. But anyway, like I said, I think that you're going to get more, of your, of your bottom of the roster guys. Be one last audition for Matt Sims. Hopefully, we'll see some more of Alex Torgerson. I'm sure they're just going to stash him on the practice squad, if they keep him at all. But as you remember, Sims doesn't have any practice squad eligibility left, so I don't see us carrying three quarterbacks. So I'm pretty sure he's gone. So if any of y'all are worried about Matt Sims, yeah, I want to see Sorbert too. He made some good catches. He's progressed decent. For a guy who come out from a small school who was really raw. He's done okay. I need to see him. If anything else, I need to see him, make progressions as far as catching. I think blocking is going to be a year away, but at least make some progress on that. But some of the other guys that I'm interested in is that what's the number 55 on the defense? Jatoris, I believe is his name. The defensive end. I wonder if between him and Odom, I mean, there's a chance that one of them could stick on the roster, as a special teams and, potential, backup. So that would be an interesting, that could be an interesting battle there for the back end guys. But mainly this game is seriously just about the bottom guys. Yeah, Jones. I believe that's his name, Jatoris. Because I get him confused with the cornerback, who also has a similar name. But, he's looked pretty good. I've wondered about that because it seemed like Sark was doing better in the booth. And so it'd be interesting to see how he goes, through the season, if they make that switch before the season. I think it'll have a lot to do with, how he does in this game. Because you got to think he's used to being on the sideline as a head coach. And, in college, I think he's used to being on the sideline. So, I think that's where he's comfortable, but he might see it better from the booth, so to speak. Let's see, I have another Shelby. He made a couple good plays in that third preseason game. I was talking with my buddy who I was watching the game with, and I was wondering if he was going to get cut, and then we come back in. I think it was during halftime. We come back in, and Shelby was making some plays. So you got to remember he's coming back from that Achilles injury. So I'm not 100% sure what his dead money is, but I don't think you're going to lose Shelby at all. As far as I think if anything else, he'll be depth this year. But he is a guy who knows who's getting to really know Dan Quinn's defense. So, but as far as Jack Crawford, I think he's finally in a system that fits his talents better. Honestly, that more of an attacking style. Yeah, attack could be ahead of schedule. I mean, our first initial injury, report, had him out maybe the first couple weeks of the season, but that's proven to be wrong. And he's, he was looking real good against the Cardinals, making, real good plays. So I really feel like, Tack's done an admirable job showing the coaches what he can do. Even Dan Quinn commented on how he was, stronger against the run than they initially thought. So I'll be interested to see, how he progresses throughout the season. But like I said, this, 4 preseason game, not a ton to really talk about there. More or less thought about doing this so I could take your questions. I think our secondary will be. I think it'll be fine as long as everybody stays healthy. It'll be. I think it'll be a good, a better secondary, obviously, because you got Neal, who now is a more comfortable. You got Brian Poole, who's more comfortable. You got Ricardo Allen in technically his third year as the starting free safety. So a lot of people are down on him. I myself am not. I think he does a good job. I think he has real good potential. You got to kind of look at him as more of a third year guy, not necessarily your fourth or whatever guy. So I hope. Yeah. Robert Alford definitely does need to trust his instincts and trust his ability and not panic. When he panics, that's when you start seeing those PIs come up. Let's see, 3-4 is good. Yeah, I mean 3-4 is good, 4-3 is good. And really, Dan Quinn plays a real like a hybrid front almost. It's a 4-3 front with 3-4 tendencies. So he can mix and match when he wants to. That's why you see him have a lot of those what I've dubbed the inside out guys, like the Claiborne and the Shelby and the Crawford and the Upshaw. Those guys, they can play multiple and very versatile type roles. So I believe Dan Quinn now has the personnel he wants to match up in any situation he wants. The key is always going to be to stay healthy. If you can stay healthy, your best availability or your best ability is availability. So that's the key there. If he can keep all of his defensive line guys healthy, I think he can run out just about any front he wants to. Yeah, I did see Riley. I was rewatching the game a little bit at lunch today, and I did see Riley rushing the passer. That was interesting. But that was something they did a little bit last year with those linebacker blitzes. So I think they were trying to see how his speed translated into, rushing the passer. I know last year they had Devondre Campbell do that, and then you had Deion Jones on like an A-gap blitz more than once. So I think they were just trying to see how Riley fit doing those type of blitzes. But well, man, guys, that's about all I got for y'all. I think I'm running about 12, 13 minutes here. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I appreciate all the comments. That's been great. If y'all like this, make sure you leave a comment underneath the video once it gets posted, once it archives, and let me know. Because if this is something y'all like, this may be something I continue doing. Well, so yeah. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all's time. Have a good night. Out.